Hi everyone, how are you doing out there? I hope you're all keeping well and staying safe. Just seen the news that our Prime Minister's got coronavirus. He seems to be able to run the country still. Let's hope he's okay and that we all end up doing well out of this. And I know it's difficult self-isolating and working from home, and I've had lots and lots of questions actually this week, and I've kind of narrowed some of them down, some of the more popular kind of ones that I've got here. So I'm going to sort of try and help those out. But I do have the chat running. I'm just going to check that I've got my my chat here so I can see what's going on, and I can then see whether or not any of you have got any questions as we go. So there were a few things that really came up this week, and they included things like Skype versus Zoom. A lot of people are using Zoom. They're using it to chat with their friends, and they're using Skype as well, which is a popular one that so many people are using. The other thing is, sorry, I'm just always checking here to see if anyone's asking anything, is how to send large files and when's the best time to send them. And also things that you can do with your connection speed as well. And certain things have come up about the Zoom versus Skype thing, and I've seen things that people have said which, quite honestly, are not really quite true, such as I've seen people say you can't record your meeting on Skype, but you can, and so to YouTube. But you do need to pay for and also a clever trick, because lots of you are out there and you're teaching, and I know that you want it propping it up somewhere. And well, maybe that's not quite the answer, because maybe you want to do a little bit more. So I'm going to show you a neat trick that I've been using, because I teach photography and video and I'm doing it online now. Kind of what would you expect? And also teaching how to do live streaming. So all these things are kind of useful. So if you want to know any of that, you can always contact me and join my classes and things like that. So for this, I actually use special live streaming software, which is great for conferences. I have done some conferences using Zoom, all-day conferences, and they have been successful. You're going to have to excuse me. I just got something stuck in my throat. By the way, I don't normally make it a habit to have drinks near the computer. Some of you may have seen that I have tweeted about that and put it on Facebook. You know, in the UK and I'm sure elsewhere, electronic shops are closed. It's not easy to get a new computer, and you may not want an IT support person coming around to fix it. So one of the easiest things to do is not keep anything nearby for spillages. The amount of people I've seen who've lost gear because they've spilled stuff on it, particularly with laptops. Oh, you're going to have to excuse me. Sorry about that. Hopefully that's the end of that. So anyway, I want to talk to you about Zoom versus Skype and which one I think is better. Well, I think they both have got their strengths. As I said, they both record. You can both of them have multiple people on this. You can hold a meeting and you can have it with many different people, which is where it comes in handy for teams and things like that, and also for teaching. And thankfully, we've got this wonderful technology that has allowed us to do that. In fact, Zoom, although I'm not sure whether they're going to keep using it, because I did read that the Ministry of Defence had actually stopped using it. That is what they have been using for the press conferences here, when you've seen Boris and his Chief Medical Officer and Deputy Chief Medical Officer and all those people doing it. But there has apparently been, they're just checking out its security, but it's worked for them. But I think they're a bit concerned about using it for cabinet meetings, which is what they've been doing. So it's popular. Zoom has suddenly, I just hear it everywhere now. So both of them start off being free. I like Skype. I've been using it a long time, probably like many of you. I like it because you can actually get a bit of credit, and then you can make calls to landlines on it. So like if you need to phone overseas, it can actually work out quite reasonable doing that. I've also, I believe you can do that with Zoom as well, but I don't feel like having both of those. Some people are just very used to Skype. Don't forget there's also FaceTime as well, and you can have multiple callers on that too, and people do like that. I'm going to just tell you one thing about those, is that when you're using it on this, it's maybe a bit different with an iPad that I've got down here, is that you are going to be holding it like this or resting it on something. So I just wanted to show you something. Obviously I've got lots of little gadgets and things around the place. I've got this little tripod. By the way, the links to all the things that I'm going to show you here, or just about all of them, are in the description below if you're looking at this on YouTube. And I've got this attachment at the top. And again, this is also there. This is brilliant. It's a bit like, and actually it is kind of the same as an phone holder that you use, and you can get these for iPads and tablets as well. I'm just unscrewing this to show you. And in fact, the company that makes this do exactly the same one. That is a car phone holder. So it's spring-loaded like this, and it holds on like this. And actually, it would sit flat like that. So you could put it on some books or something like that. This is relatively cheap. I think it's about £10. Sorry. And what's nice about it is you're not going to get tired holding it out. And if you're teaching, that could be very tiring. The great thing is it fits onto tripods. So it's actually got the right size screw, and it fits onto my professional tripods as well that I use for work. So if I'm filming something, I'm taking my big tripod with me. Normally got a coin here so that I can quickly tighten this up. So let's just quickly do that. And then that goes on here, just onto this little tripod here. This is a Surui mini professional tripod. It's really, really solid. It's light as well. You can take it on holidays. It folds up. I can make it go really flat like this. So, okay, so if you're doing all these kind of things and you need a bit of extra support, now for those of you that are teaching, you're suddenly going to realize that actually this is a really good idea, and you could get a bigger tripod. You can put this up on something. It comes with a strap. You can strap it onto a pole or something like that. So it's brilliant. And I've got to say, I take this all over the place with me, which is just fantastic. It's always handy to have a coin that fits to tighten up. This is called the plate that attaches onto the tripod that lets it come on and off really quickly. So the things I like about, so what was I going to say about Skype and Zoom? So one of the things I want to do is teach photography, and I think perhaps this is a little bit of where this might come into its own. So I'm going to show you what I've been doing to help people out. So with Skype, the problem is getting it to show the video and who you want on there and controlling the participants and that. But it is handy. I'm going to switch over to Skype for a moment. So you can see it here. Here's Skype. And for those of you that haven't actually used it before, you just, excuse me, you just start a meeting. So I've just clicked there. And then, by the way, I've got loads of videos for this. If you don't know, I've got coming up for 400 how-to videos on my website, Jargon Free Help. So I'm going to start the call. Let's just mute that. And let's just get my me up there. And there's an option in the settings that I could do, which has actually blurred the background. And you can see if I click on these three dots here, I can unblur my background. If you're at home, maybe you've got your laundry and everything out, you don't want everyone to kind of make it all out. And you're wondering, where's the start recording option? So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to include me on this phone. I'm just going to copy this link and copy it to my phone. And one of the neat things is on the iPad, sorry, on this whole Mac thing, is I can copy from here to here without having to send it. So I'm just going to click there. Oops, come on. Let's just click on that link, copy link. Very cleverly, I can just paste and go here. Join conversation, open, and it's joining it. And you'll see that I'm going to join the call. Let's just make sure this is muted. So I now should come up on here as well. Okay, So this is kind of cool. And now when it does, you've got the start recording option down here. The person who's watching this actually does get a thing saying that I have started the recording. So there's no secrets there. I'm just going to stop that because I don't really need to record it. But here's the thing that I thought. I could add other people, including myself. So a lot of people have got a laptop with a webcam and they've got a phone or an iPad. So if you're teaching, why can't you be on there twice? I could set up the call here. I could set up on my phone just like I've done, and you've seen it right here. I could then put this here. I can angle this down so that I can see my camera that I'm going to explain right in front of me. Now, who is ever watching can see this and they can see me or whatever else I'm showing, so they can get a close-up and a wide view. Now, if you're teaching music, maybe dancing, cooking, this is great because you can actually have two things and have a wide shot and the close-up shots just by connecting yourself to your own meeting. Problem is in Skype is how do I control that? I find some people have said about the quality of Skype and things like that, but actually I don't see a problem with it. So I'm going to close this meeting and, sorry, I'm doing all this myself here, the connecting and everything. So I'm back here. Now, the good thing is that Zoom actually does what I think is a bit of a better job of this. And it does, for those of you that have never used this before, Zoom and Skype basically do the same kind of thing. You can set up a meeting and then multiple people can join. And we're going to have a look at Zoom and see how that's done. Sorry about this. This hasn't happened before on a live stream. Maybe it's catchy. I hope this isn't any virus. I think it's just something caught in my throat. Right. I've got a cup of tea just out of reach here because, as I said to you, I try and keep things out of reach. So I'm going to reach over for that in a moment. So let's switch over to Zoom. And here we are. That's an interesting expression I've got on my face there. So I want to start a new meeting. I'm sure some of you have done that, and I'm actually creating a video this afternoon to show how that's done. So what I'm doing here is I am going to click on the screen here. It's connecting, and that's taking a bit of time to connect. That could be because I'm doing so much more at the same time. So I just want to check something here. Chat, enable live chat, that's all on. I can't see any chat here. If any of you have actually sent anything, I'll go and have a look, see if I can find it in a moment. Right, so Zoom, it's typical, isn't it? When you want it to work right now, let's just leave that meeting. Let me just do that meeting again. And let me just see, is that coming up on here? No, it's not. Okay, right. So, probably lots of people out there using it. I'm going to come back to this, okay? Because this is probably just down to connections and all that kind of going on at the same time. So let's come back to it because I do want to show you that. The joys of technology. So in the meantime, I'm going to talk to you about something else. Someone asked me about how I can send large files. And there's a little bit of an issue kind of going on at the internet at the moment. And one of them is because of all these big calls. Sorry, I've got to take this tea here. Problem with doing these things live. Okay. Sorry, I'm going to unplug the mic for a second. I'm going to do a really big cough. Tea. Don't worry, this hasn't been a persistent cough. Okay, so everyone doing all the voice calls and all that kind of thing is great, but you know, it is slowing down the internet a little bit, and people are sending me large files and it is taking its time. So one of the things that I have suggested is sending it overnight. And the other thing I do also think that's quite good is to use something like WeTransfer. I find it pretty quick. It's free and you can send quite large files with it. So one of the things I'm getting people to do, all having to adapt at the moment, is people record things on their smartphones or their cameras and then send it to me so that I can then edit it for them, which is great. So thankfully I do some editing, and I have been able to do that from here. Clients are also asking for, they've had to cancel events, so they're kind of repurposing videos or creating videos, and then I'm just editing them together, maybe creating highlights and things like that. And then they send it using WeTransfer. But my trick is when I find that the internet is running slow or anything like that, is to send it overnight. And you might find first thing in the morning. So the other thing that can slow down the internet, and I do find early in the morning is good, because one of the biggest users of the internet is the United States. And if you're watching in the United States, this can, please don't take this the wrong way, but you use the internet a lot. There's a lot of you, and you're into technology, and it's great, but you kind of need to look at the time here, and you will notice sometimes that there's a drop. Say I'm in the UK, and you find that actually when you see the sort of United States come online, that it does slow down. So one of the things I do is I sometimes send it overnight. So if you're doing it on your laptop or computer and you're sending it, maybe just leave it running overnight. The thing that I make sure that I do is I've got the volume switched off so that I don't start hearing pinging of emails and things like that coming through. But WeTransfer is good. Dropbox is good too, and they've just introduced something as well, which I need to try out. Again, it starts off being free, and they've got a similar thing for sharing files as well. WeTransfer is good. I find uploading to Dropbox can be slower, but I do think Dropbox is a good place to store files that you're working on, and then you can have folders on your computer, whether you're using Windows or a Mac. So they're quite handy as well. And WeTransfer just sends it. They've got a limited time that they can download it. It's a few days, I believe. If you pay for it, you can send even bigger files, and also it does keep it there until you're ready to delete it. So that is something that you could do. So WeTransfer and Dropbox are two ways of being able to send big files. The Apple has just introduced iCloud sharing, just literally in the past couple of days, and I just need to try that out, but that could also be another way. But I find WeTransfer just sends things that much more quickly, and then people can share it if they need to. So that's quite handy. Now, speaking of storage, and you're all saving things, here we go. This is a memory stick. I've put the link below as well. You might be having to transfer files. You're working at home, maybe you're working with people, and like this Mac here has got this thing called USB-C, which is a different connection to the USB 3. And USB 3 is the more common one that you probably see. If you can see it, it looks like that port there. I'm not sure you're going to be able to see it. Hang on. Let me just flip back so you can see me on this. And let's just go back to here. So this is a little mini hub, but I'll tell you about that in a second. So that's the normal USB-C. I've got this memory stick that's really quite neat actually. First of all, it's small, 128 gig. The link for it is below. If I push it that way, you might be able to see it. It goes with the USB-C type socket. Go that way, and it's the other type of USB-C. So this is quite good. You've got two machines. You've got a Mac like this. It's got this one, but you might need to transfer it somewhere else, and you can use this one. By the way, this is the one that works in the iPad Pros. So it's brilliant, so I can load up files and that. The thing I just showed you actually is this multi-port hub. Elisa, it's fantastic. So it's got USB-C, it connects to my iPad Pro, so I can copy files on it. What else does it have that's really, really useful? Well, it's got 3 USB ports here, so you can connect your old drives or your memory sticks. So if you've got a machine like this, you can do that. It has an Ethernet connector, that's a network connector, which I'm going to talk about more in a moment. It has USB-C here, which also, for my computer, if you've got one like this, supplies power, which is also for the iPad Pro. So it can be a memory stick or power. And it's also got HDMI here, so you can connect it up to a compatible monitor, TV. And the thing I really like, it's got an SD card. Just when you thought there were enough ports and everything on here, look at that. It's even got an SD card reader and a micro, I think it's micro SD card reader. So when I'm using things like my Mavic Pro, my Mavic Air, which is my drone, or my GoPro. I can put it straight in here. I don't need one of those adapters. Brilliant. I can just take this with me. I do actually have all of these kind of things, including this network adapter, which I'm going somewhere with. Now, some computers have got a network port in them, and people have been saying about the speed of their routers and things like that, the speed of their internet connection. So here we go. Things you can do. This might be a router that you're using. This is the BT router. This is obviously not the one I'm connected to right now. This is a replacement one, or the other one's a replacement one. I just want to show you what you could do to check your speed and see what is going on. And there is an app as well for smartphones. You can find it. It's called Speed Test. Let's go to here. We're going to check my speed. It might not actually be that quick at the moment. So it's called speedtest.net. And this is the place that I would say you need to start. Okay, and as I said, it's on your smartphones, tablets, and things like that as well. So let's hit go. It's going to give me 3 things. The ping, 8. That's quick. That's good. That's great for video calling and things. You can see I've got a fast speed here, 72 megabits per second. That's download speed. That's fast. If you're starting to get down to 8, 10, below that, maybe your connection is a bit on the slow side. I have a fast upload. I need it to send video files and that. But I would say anything, most people don't need a fast upload. You're probably going to get 1 megabit per second, maybe more. But this was important for me because of sending all the big files. So that's something that you could just check to make sure that you've got that kind of speed. Now, if you haven't got that kind of speed, it could be that your wireless, there's some interference on your wireless. And I'm going to give you a couple of tips for just checking that. And this is where this cable, you know, I untangled this before, but cables have got a habit of tangling up. This is an Ethernet cable. It normally comes with your router. You can get much longer cables. And what it does is you can plug one end into your computer, which is where I needed this adapter for this computer. So these are Ethernet adapters, Ethernet, and this is an Ethernet cable. You might see that they are either classified as Cat 5 or Cat 6 if you were asked. Cat 6 is the faster one. Either one will work for this test, but you should have got this and you might need to move your computer nearer it. And I say to people, always be careful with this kind of thing. You don't want to be dropping it or anything like that. So on this thing, it plugs in here. This would then plug into the computer. And then the thing you then want to do is plug it into the back of your router. So this is the router I've got, and you can see it's got these ports at the back here. Hopefully that's in focus. And you can see them just along there. There's a few of them, and you might have other things plugged in. This is the one that comes in from outside, your broadband line. Okay, so if it says broadband or in here, and what you're looking for is your Ethernet here. So you would plug this in. You might have to turn off your wireless. I'd like to go through that, but so many of you have got different wireless connections. Give this a moment, maybe give it a minute for it to sort of connect up and make sure it's connected, and then run the speed test again. If it's significantly different, it's your wireless that's causing the problem. So you need to then look out for all sorts of things that you could potentially do there. It could be there are other people around. So the other thing that can slow down your internet is someone else where you live is using it and they're using up a lot of broadband. They may be downloading, doing an update, watching Netflix or whatever. So that's the sort of thing that you might have to look out for. These, like anything, we've got electronics all over the place. So things that can interfere with this is if you've got, say, a cordless phone that's too close to it, you might just want to move it away. That could be affecting your wireless. It could be that other people in the building, if you're nearby, other ones could be affecting it as well. So that can be a problem. I'm going to put a link where you can find something that can check that. Although they seem to be less and less, these things are very good at sort of finding their own channel. They've all got channels to do that. Sometimes I find powering it off, leaving it for a minute and then starting it up again will sometimes maybe find a different channel and maybe improve that. So there's all sorts of electronics. Just look to see if there's anything around. You may even find that when you switch your microwave on, that whilst it's on, that's actually cooking something, not just plugged in. That can interfere with it as well. So just have a look. Is it too near something like a Sky TV box or whatever you happen to be using, your satellite box or your cable? A lot of them have got Wi-Fi in them now, and that can be interfering. Now, if none of that works, and I have been through this with some people as well, a lot of your phones have got Wi-Fi hotspots in them. So the thing that you could do is disconnect everything and try and connect through this. So if you've checked on here and you're getting a faster speed, you might want to connect it to this, and you can do that wirelessly. So things like if you've got a Mac and an iPhone and you're on the same account, it kind of can find it really easily as well. You kind of need to look for your instructions on your smartphone and whatever. If you're having trouble finding it, you can drop me a line. I will try and help you out. So the other thing is, you can get these kind of mini hubs as well. This is a BT mini hub. I do use it. It's got a SIM card in it as well. And you can use this. It's great when you're sort of traveling around and you can connect a lot of different devices to it. So it kind of works like this, but it's just dedicated for this. So you can get one of these. You might just want to check the coverage if it wasn't much better on your smartphone. So the problem with using it on your phone is you're going to tear through your battery because it does use up that much more power, and you might have to keep it charged up. Although at the moment, many of us are just not going anywhere. So there is this little device. And I have seen some providers, I did look on EE the other day, and there may be others, they've got 5G versions of this. So if you've got good coverage of 5G, which is really fast, you might actually find getting one of those could help you right now. You might find perhaps even the company that you work for thinks it's a good idea and will get you on. And somewhere in here, oh yeah, I had to take the back off of it, it's got a SIM card in it. I think I'm paying about £6 a month for this. So that's not a bad backup. I think I might have got a special deal because I'm a BT broadband business customer, so they're quite handy. So they are things you can look out for, but I would start off by just looking to see if there's anything nearby. Is there someone else downloading? And maybe just giving it a restart just to see if maybe that gives it a bit of a push. So these are all tricky, and a lot of it, again, does come down to a lot of this video calling thing, which seems to be a bit of a novelty right up now, so that might be just slowing things down just a bit, but you might find that it settles. Okay. Let me go and just see if there's anything going on the chat. Let me have a look here, see if anything is coming up. And I can't see anything. Actually, I can't even see where the chat is. So let me just go here. Let me just switch over. Sorry about this. I'm just going to see why I can't see any chat going on here. Nope, can't see anything there. If any of you, maybe someone can drop me a line. You can email me. Let me quickly check my emails. No, nothing of interest there. Usual kind of spam stuff. So let's go and see if this Zoom is going to work again now. So let me just try this. Let me go to Zoom and let me join a meeting. And again, it says it's, okay, right. Now, can you see that? Can you see that I have actually got here let me just connect this up. So yeah, do you have that? Maybe not. So I'm going to just add in my Zoom desktop here so that you get to see what I am seeing. So let's do a new capture. Let's do that. I want you to see what I am seeing, and I am going to go here. Give me a second. It all seems to have got stuck. And I am going to this one here. Yes, that's working. Right. So the thing that it's done is it's coming up asking me whether I want to join with audio, computer audio. So I'm going to say yes. So it's doing the audio through the computer. And some people have asked me, what do I click on when I join? So you join with computer audio, and you could do it through a phone call. So if you've got lousy audio, so the conference I was running at the beginning of this week had someone from China, and he had slow broadband. not necessarily because he was in China. That could have been misleading. It had nothing to do with that. People do have slow broadband from time to time. So what he did is he dialed in, so he used his phone. But if you don't have to, you can just do that. And there's a tab here for the phone call. So I'm just going to join with computer audio. And it says I'm joining with the computer audio now. So the thing I didn't mention actually is Skype does allow you to share your screen, but it shares your whole screen. The nice thing about Zoom is you can share a specific part of your screen. Let's just quickly take a look at that. So I'm going to click on share screen and you can see I can choose what I want. And I've got windows open for all sorts of things. I've got my Safari, Chrome, Mail, Lightroom. I could have PowerPoints, and that's probably what a lot of people will be doing if they're doing a presentation. There is a neat one. There's a whiteboard and you could scribble on that. However, I'm not very good at drawing with the mouse, probably not good at drawing full stop. So that's probably not a great one for me. So that would allow me to share the screen. But the thing I wanted to show you was that I wanted people to come into this conversation. So I want to use my camera here on this so I can look at this camera so that whoever I'm talking to teaching, I can show this. So don't forget, you could use this for all sorts of teaching. And well, if you've got a webcam here and you've got a smartphone and a tablet, maybe someone else in your house, you could have multiple angles. Okay, that could be quite interesting. But depending on what you're teaching, that could be quite interesting. So I'm going to do this. Let me just take this off of here because I'm going to do this now. So again, I've got this neat feature here where I can go invite. I can mail it. I'm going to copy the URL. It's copied it to the clipboard. Let me just go here, paste and go. And bosh, it's going to open Zoom. Let's close that. I've now got my participant coming in. I might just have to mute the microphone. Well, let's just, it's muted, but it's, yeah, there we go. Right, so here's the thing I wanted to show you. Here we are. I've got another camera here. That's meant to be muted. Why is that still coming out? Okay, let's see if that's any better. Okay, so you've got me here. Let me just manage my participants. I can actually mute, I'm going to mute this one here because I don't need the audio coming through. So you're teaching, right? And I can manage my participants here. I can record it like I want to here. And in fact, the other thing that you've got that you can do with Zoom is you can switch cameras. Okay. If you had two cameras connected to your computer, so let's say, for example, you had two webcams, you could do that. You can click here. Yeah, I've got a few too many. What would you expect from someone who does all this video stuff? But what you can see now is I can have a gallery view like this. Someone can be watching it. They don't need to see themselves. They could, I believe, hide their camera. So I can be talking to you and I can show you how to use this camera. So I can tell you to switch it on and all about what lenses do and things like that. So I can now teach you by using two different sources. So I can have a nice close-up and I can have that. And I think that's useful for all sorts of things. And I'm actually going to stop this because I think I might be getting some feedback here. So excuse me, I'm just going to end this meeting. If you want to know more about this, this is something you can come back to me about. So feel free to drop me a line. So I think, like, if you wanted to teach anything really, whether it be sports, cooking, any sort of craft, there's just lots. People are teaching lots out there, yoga, all sorts of things. This can just give you that extra kind of thing there. Right, now, let me just go here. I need to see if there's any questions that any of you have got. So I am looking here. Why am I not getting anything? Let me just copy that. The chat's not coming up for me at the moment, so let me just see. No, it doesn't appear that any of you have got anything. If you are out there, just drop me a quick chat, just say hi. It says something called slow mode is on. I switched that on deliberately for live streaming. It leaves 60 seconds between each message if you're trying to send them, so that someone doesn't spam and just start writing loads and loads of stuff out there. So they are some of the things that I think are going to help you out. So Skype versus Zoom, just chatting to people, I think either one of them is good. People have said to me they find the quality of the Zoom image and the audio a bit better. To be honest, I've not really experienced any difficulty between the two of them. There is WeTransfer for sending things. So I think that that's also really useful for sending large files. As I said, there is all sorts of others. That you've got OneDrive, you've got Dropbox, you've got iCloud, and now the iCloud sharing. So there's quite a few different things that you can do with that. You've now seen that you can use 2 cameras as well to teach, which can be useful. And you've seen a few little tips possibly to speeding up your internet. I think things will settle down and people are just using and sending lots and lots of things and settling into this working from home. I hope that this working from home thing has not been too trying for you. I know that it's difficult. I've been doing this working from home. Obviously I go out and film things and teach and whatever, but actually being kind of my office being at home for about 28 years now, and I see lots of different suggestions as to what you can do. And one of the things that I do is, if I'm not out doing stuff, I tend to get up. First thing I do is before I start work, so the last thing I do before I start work is I go for a walk. Doesn't matter how long that walk is, but it just sort of feels like you've gone somewhere and got you out of the house. And I think that sort of really helps, and then I settle into my work. Now, people say all sorts of things about getting into a routine and keeping hours and things. And you know what? It's difficult. And it's difficult because there are more people possibly in your house at the moment. And I think it's good that you perhaps will take breaks together, have a cup of coffee, lunch, things like that. And that way you can share and maybe get your space. The other thing I've heard people say that's a bit difficult, some people like to get on their mobile or their phone and walk around and talk, and that can be very distracting for other people in the house. So like here, we've agreed that if we're making phone calls, we do them in the separate room. We don't kind of walk around the whole house making that call. So I think that's kind of like an important one as well. And there's also this, stop work at 5 o'clock kind of thing when your day is finished or whatever time you normally finish. Sometimes that can be difficult if you're finishing something off. I also think as well, maybe if you have finished a bit early, don't try and stretch it out. Maybe just stop. Tell people that's it for the day. No need to drag it out, particularly if there's distractions going on. And the thing that I have realized, I used to have my dinner, and then I hadn't finished what I was doing for work. It is difficult when you're at home. And I would sit there then with the laptop in front of the TV, we're all watching television, and I'm really just finishing something off. But one thing I've kind of discovered, unless it's something particularly big where I might leave it, is just have dinner and just say, look, I'm just going to be another 10, 20 minutes. Let me just finish off these emails or whatever it is you're doing, and that way you can put it away. Because this is just so easy to just keep working non-stop. Working from home is really tricky that way. The other thing that's been nice with Zoom and actually catching up with more people than ever, well, Zoom or Skype, I have used both for this, is having sort of coffee breaks that I wouldn't normally have with people. So, just making a cup of coffee, cup of tea, and sitting and having a chat with colleagues, people I normally meet up with. I think it's really, really useful, and you're not necessarily talking work, but just how things are going. So I think this is all a very different way of working. And if you do want to catch up over coffee, if I have missed you out, then now's the opportunity to drop me a line, and I'll probably drop you a line to catch up and do that. So I can't think of anything else that I want to tell you now, except I'm going to be running some more of these, specifically talking about things. I'm going to do some live streams as well as the online lessons if you want them, so filming and photography lessons. And it's a great opportunity. We're possibly working, a lot of you are at work, and for those of you working at the NHS that are frontline, whatever you're doing, whether you're supporting the IT systems, porters, nurses, doctors, fantastic. I mean, what you're doing out there, and you're really keeping the country going and keeping our spirits up at the moment. But anyway, I want to help you guys all out, not just those at the NHS. I'm going to do some live streaming as well, familiarising yourself with the camera. Great opportunity to try out new skills, not just photography and video. So keep a lookout for those. And you can keep a lookout for all of those by dropping me a line. I can add you to my newsletter, or just like all these youngsters do when they're doing all these, subscribe on the link below. Yes, there's a subscribe button, so you can click on that and then you're going to get updates as well. So please, please, please subscribe. If you like this or any of my other videos, please click on the like button as well. It'd be really, really appreciated if you do. Lots and lots of people have been looking at all of my videos lately. For those of you that don't know, my channel has got coming up for 400 how-to tutorials. And they have got things like Excel, Word, PowerPoint, using your iPads, your iPhone, and some photography and filmmaking, and lately other things like how to stream. I've got a recent one as well on filming tips with your smartphone and camera, and also for the first time my wife joined me for one, because we go out for a walk and I take the iPhone with me. She's got AirPods, I've got AirPods. We could listen to the same music on the same phone. So there's a video there showing you how I shared the music on my phone, which doesn't have to be music, could be video, YouTube, anything else. So you can listen to my podcasts together when you're on the go, and how I shared it with Lisa's AirPods. And then I could control the sound levels on both so that we could have different, she wanted it maybe a bit quieter than me. So you can go and have a look at that as well. For those of you that do keep coming back and going to that channel, thank you so much for supporting it. Keep well, stay safe, and I hope to see you all soon. Thanks for watching.